Hi, for this project, I observed the Pacific Forest frogs in my own backyard along the Willow Creek in Folsom, California. I observed the nighttime calling behavior within the Pacific Forest frogs, and in this presentation, I will dive into what they reveal about their brain function, behavior, and evolution through the lens of Tinbergen's four question. The next slide shows you just a quick video of this calling behavior pattern at nighttime. All right, causation. Nighttime calling in Pacific Core frogs is triggered by hormone activity, which activate brain regions responsible for vocalization. This behavior appears to favor nighttime and moist environmental conditions. According to Kelly in 2004, testosterone and arginine vasotosin activate brain regions that control vocal behavior, including circuits in the brainstem that help create these rhythmic calls. These hormones make the frog more responsive to the social and environmental cues. My observations were done mainly at night when I heard them the most active, but given that they're nocturnal amphibians, this makes most sense for my observation. Development. Nighttime calling behavior develops through hormonal maturation and social exposure to group chorusing patterns. As frogs mature, they begin calling when hormones levels begin to rise, especially testosterone, as we discussed in the previous slide. Kelly in 2004 explains that this hormone turns on the brain areas responsible for that calling behavior. But experience also matters. Ahira and her colleagues in 2019 showed that Japanese tree frogs don't just start calling randomly. In the image to the right, you can see that they learn to take turns and time their calls with others. In my observations, Pacific chorus frogs often called in a rhythmic and even pause together after loud noise disturbances. This suggests they're not only biologically wired to call, but also adjusting their timing through social experiences. Evolution. Nighttime calling evolved in Pacific chorus frogs and other frog species because it provided a reproductive advantage while minimizing predation and energy cost. This behavior does indeed likely evolve because it helps frogs reproduce more successful while avoiding fights. Toledo and Haddad in 2005 found that deeper, slower calls signal larger, stronger males, so they attract more females and avoid unnecessary confrontation. Kelly in 2004 adds that vocal behaviors are shaped by hormone-sensitive brain structures, which suggests this system evolved alongside reproductive needs. Nighttime calling may also help frogs avoid predators and heat, making it even more adaptive across different environments. On to function. Nighttime calling improves mating opportunities by helping males advertise to females during optimal environmental conditions. The purpose of advertisement calling is to attract these mates, and frogs typically do this during their breeding seasons and when their chances are higher. I noticed that Pacific chorus frogs called most frequently between 8 and 9 p.m. Or midnight, and often in groups. Ahira in 2019 described how frogs time their calls with others, as we discussed, which might help each male be heard more clearly. Nelson in 2016 found that some frogs near noisy roads don't adjust their calls well, suggesting this behavior works best under certain environmental conditions. So calling at night may be adaptive because it improves the chances of being heard by a female when conditions are right. And lastly, the connections to the course themes. This project tied together many course concepts we have studied. The calling behavior of these frogs is a clear example of adaptive animal communication used to attract mates, defend territories, and signal reproductive fitness. Their Volca-Sag inflation enhances signal salience, aligning with that multi-modal communication strategies that we discussed. I also observed call synchronization and cessation, which are both forms of social coordination. This behavior also reflects hormonal neural control, such as testosterone and ABT influencing call timing and the motivation to call, consistent with what we've discussed about the neuro and hormonal communications, behavior. Nelson 2016 also showed how anthropogenic noise can disrupt these calls, which reinforces how environmental changes impacts behavior. Overall, this behavior illustrates key principles from evolution to the brain function. And this slide here is just my resources. Thank you.